Happy New Year to you. Here's to your 2025. And with the beginning of a new year comes that time of year, that time to recover from that New Year's Eve hangover. Hope not, it's the 4th at this point. Come on, pace yourselves, the year is young, but it's that time to talk about my top 10 anticipated movies of 2025. Per the ones I know about. I say that because we know how it is. Some of the best movies in 2025 are probably the ones we haven't even heard about yet. That list we make, are the movies gonna be good? Are they gonna be terrible? I don't know. We don't know. That's kind of the fun thing about it. That time of year to make a list in which at least one, possibly two of these movies is going to be delayed to 2026. That's the real new normal right there, which brings me to a couple of disclaimers. Any movies that were on my list last year for my anticipated movies of 2024 that got delayed and now they're coming out in 2025, though they are coming out in 2025, Ballerina and Mickey 17, still looking forward to you, but I want to talk about 10 other movies this time around. Also, these movies are completely out of order. There's no real rhyme or reason to their placement in here. In the past, they've usually been kept pretty close to order of release, but this time around I was looking at the list, I was like, I don't think there's any rhyme or reason here. If they end up being in order of release, pure coincidence. And since they're not in any order, it's not like 10's my least anticipated, 1's the most anticipated, there's no need for the pomp and circumstance of a countdown. No 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, none of that here, just listing off movies. So let's start it out with a movie I've been waiting for a long time, ever since I saw 28 Weeks Later in theaters. There was already chatter about the next movie was going to be 28 years later. It's finally coming out. It's finally coming out with Danny Boyle returning to the director's chair. Not that 28 Weeks Later isn't great. I love 28 Days and Weeks Later both. But it is pretty cool that Danny Boyle's coming back to direct the third one. The trailer was solid. The anticipation's there as it's been building for ages. Even when it wasn't really being talked about. There's always that silent anticipation in our minds of fans of the first two films. When's 28 Years Later coming out? Finally, unless it gets delayed. Let's not jinx it. Recently, I saw a trailer for a movie called Presence, in which it's a ghost haunting movie, like one of those haunted house movies. But the entire movie is from the POV of the spirit. Like the audience is in the POV of the spirit haunting this house and freaking this family out. It's something I've always thought about. A ghost haunting a house. Are they trying to be scary? Are they trying to be assholes? Or are they just trying to establish contact? Do they even know they're establishing contact? Are they just confused? I don't know. But I feel like Steven Soderbergh, being the talent that he is and the premise being as interesting as it is, that's one to look forward to this year. I mean, the movie comes out in like 2 or 3 weeks, so soon enough we'll know if it sucks or if it's great. Fingers crossed for it being great. Hope it doesn't suck. Next up, F1. This was the first trailer I saw in 2024 that really started to hype 2025 for me. Something about that trailer, it's doing the We Will Rock You thing, the dun dun tsh. Dun, dun, tsh. Directed by Joseph Kosinski, the director of Top Gun Maverick. My thought is, if he puts as much effort putting the audience in the driver's seat of a Formula One race car as he did putting the audience in the cockpit of a fighter jet for Top Gun Maverick, we could have something special here. Judging by the trailer, it looks like that might be the case. Hope it's good. I'm going to say that a lot in this video. Hope it's good, because that's all we can do. Next up, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. The final Mission Impossible film until the next Mission Impossible film. Glad they did away with that part 1, part 2 bullshit, though in practice it's still part 1 and part 2. It's just not called that. I'm not basing this one off of Dead Reckoning Part 1 as much as I'm basing it off of the Mission Impossible legacy. Those movies have been pretty consistently entertaining as the years have gone on. It's a franchise that knows the assignment. Tom Cruise has had a pretty good run both figuratively and literally, and they will have him doing this till he's 90. Will it be better than Fallout? Not counting on it. Next up, the biopic about Michael Jackson, directed by Antoine Fuqua, cleverly titled Michael. It's more and more difficult to explain to people how big, how massive, how famous Michael Jackson actually was. That does raise a concern of how do you encapsulate, how do you capture and illustrate that kind of life and career into a film. So I have some worries there, but it seems to be a labor of love, and Antoine Fuqua directing is no joke. I've already seen fans online scrutinizing the continuity and the costumes. Biopic about the greatest entertainer of all time. I can't not look forward to that. Next up, Superman. Okay, like I said when I talked about the trailer, it's a Superman movie. How am I not going to look forward to that? Kind of like When. I say when because it is a when. The new James Bond movie, whatever it is coming out. I'm probably going to look forward to that. It's a staple. It's a thing. It's that thing. Such is life with a Superman movie. I question whether or not James Gunn is the guy to bring me a Superman movie as I like my Superman movies. I feel like he speaks to a younger audience, and my old man energy is all like Richard Donner forever. I don't care. I don't apologize for any of it, but that trailer did get my curiosity. And my wonder. Like, I wonder why you would get your Superman jacked only to hide the muscles under a baggy suit. But I do want to see how the movie plays out before I bitch about the suit too much. I want to see it in action. That said, new Superman movie, hope they don't fuck it up. Next up, Frankenstein. Guillermo del Toro is making a Frankenstein movie that I will call Frankenstein from here out, but I know. But in the same way, I might be making this comparison because Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is new, still out in theaters. But in the same way, I heard, oh, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, and I was like, that's perfect. Guillermo del Toro in Frankenstein's kind of the same vibe. I think he's perfect to direct a Frankenstein movie. What can I say? Also looks like 2025 is the year we have to choose our Frankenstein. And they're probably going to be wildly different monsters, so to speak. Not to put too much of a pun on it. But yeah, Guillermo del Toro does Frankenstein. That's making this list. Next up, Edgar Wright has a new movie coming out this year, and it's The Running Man. Most of us know it as the classic Arnold Schwarzenegger 80s action flick, but that movie's actually based off of a Stephen King story from the Bachman books, and that was an adaptation that's not entirely accurate. Starring Glenn Powell, look, it's like this. I first saw him in Top Gun Maverick, and I was like, oh, I call him the Frost Man. I called him the Frost Man forever, because he's like Iceman, but not really. He's the Frost Man. And now I'm like, I don't hate him. He's one of those actors who rose to superstardom, because the rest of us were like, I'm pretty sure he and Sydney Sweeney, I'm gonna work out. I don't know if Edgar Wright's going for a more accurate adaptation of the source material, or if he's treating it as a remake of the Arnold movie. But Edgar Wright making a new movie, that's usually just a win. His take on The Running Man, I'd like to see that. I try to remember the directors to look up to be like, hey, is this person making a movie this year? Is that person making a movie this year? I kind of came across Edgar Wright. I didn't search his name. One of the names I did search out, Darren Aronofsky, has a new movie coming out this year called Caught Stealing. I think it's coming, it's said to be coming out this year. Next year, I might mention it as a movie I'm not going to talk about in my 2026 anticipated movies, because that Caught Stealing movie, though it was delayed, I talked about it here in 2025. I don't know. I've heard very little about it. That does make me nervous. It wrapped production not too long ago, but it's Darren Aronofsky. I feel like he can edit the shit out of that thing in pretty record time. Google search says this. Burned out ex-baseball player Hank Thompson unexpectedly finds himself embroiled in a dangerous struggle for survival amidst the criminal underbelly of 1990s New York City, forced to navigate a treacherous underworld he never imagined. Directed by Darren Aronofsky. Starring Austin Butler. Picture I saw had Matt Smith. It's probably the picture right here. I don't know until I start editing this thing, but it should be. Anyhow, yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, this next one, here I am. A walking cliche. Avatar, Fire and Ash. You know me at this point, I love James Cameron, and those Avatar movies, they are escapism in its purest form. With James Cameron's hippie messaging at the core, save the trees in Avatar, save the whales in Avatar Way of Water. Can't wait to save the igneous rocks in Fire and Ash. I don't know. I do wonder how long he can keep that formula going. Is it going to be another thing where it's like, all right, the humans moved in, forced us out of our home. We hang out with the other Na'vi, this time volcano people, and we learn their ways. Rinse and repeat until we're done with this, till they're 90. That runs the risk of getting repetitive. Only a slight concern at this point, because I kind of get it. The reason Way of Water did it, because it was like, yeah, that other Avatar movie that was a while ago. First year of me doing YouTube videos a while ago. A while ago. Yeah, it was a long time. So I'm hoping there's more here to sink my teeth into. We'll see. But if for nothing else, James Cameron knows how to make that entertainment. I'll probably always look forward to a movie by him. I do hope the musical score game is stepped up this time around. Avatar Way of Water, I didn't have that feeling of I need to go buy the soundtrack. Here's hoping for Fire and Ash. And that's it. That's 10. Those are 10 anticipated movies coming out this year, hopefully, unless they get delayed, from me. Here's to another year of unknowns. If 2024 wasn't your year, I hope 2025 is. I do remember something I heard someone say once. I was just there listening, but this dude was on a train. He was talking to someone, and he said, the future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. The future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one. It always stuck with me. Seemed like a smart guy. New Year's mean new opportunities, so I hope your 2025 is a badass one. Alright, so 10 movies. It doesn't even have to be 10 movies. I say 10 because, you know, it keeps it more concise, more consistent. There's something about the uniformity of a list of 10 on a channel like mine, or my channel in particular. So not putting a number on it, what are your anticipated movies of 2025? Whatever they are, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.